Hi, everybody. Julie Leon here from the home team. I am so excited. I have Kim McAdoo, who is here from Kim McAdoo Estate Planning. Stay tuned. We got some juicy information for you.
Hi, my name is Kim McAdoo. I am a probate and estate planning attorney here in New York City. My company is McAdoo Estate Planning. So, Julie, I'm so happy to be here, and we have a lot of great things to talk about.
Kim, I'm so thrilled to have you here. What can I say? You're full of knowledge that I think most people don't have, and I want you to share. Education is key. So, tell me a little bit about yourself and what exactly it is that you do.
Okay, I am an estate planning and probate attorney in New York City. So, I do a variety of things. I work with individuals and couples and families in terms of planning their wills, their trusts. I have a special passion for special needs planning as well because I do have a son who has autism. So I do that kind of planning as well. And then on the probate side, I work with individuals or families who have had a loved one pass away recently, and they either have a will or they don't have a will. I actually file in surrogates court for them. I work with them on the petition and the other documents to get them filed, so they can start to get that process in order. So, in a nutshell, that's what I've been working on.
Fabulous. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so we're talking wills, estate, probate. Now,
Yes,
my job is to help the people that think they can't buy a home, right?
right.
Show them, yes, we can help you. There's resources for you. Just let me know. We work together as a team. Let's get you that home. Once that's completed, the next step would be to come to someone like Kim. But Kim, with that said, I read an article online from the Board of Federal Reserve System, and it's dated September 2020.
Okay.
And it says that a 2019 survey, white families had the highest level of both median family wealth. Mhm. Then they have other families, those identifying as Asian, American Indian, Alaska Native, Native Hawaiian, and other races and mixed races,
Right.
putting other. Um, that their wealth, of course, is lower than white families. But what surprised me in the article
Mhm.
was that the wealth among African Americans and Hispanics is even lower than that group of people. What do you think of this, and what you think might be the problem?
I think that first of all, there are obviously disparities in terms of building wealth, and in this country, at least, the main asset that most families use to build wealth is home, namely the equity in their home. There have this historic reasons and trends as well as to why there is such a big, wide gap there between Caucasian families and families of color, namely African Americans and Latino families as well. I think there's just been trends where a lot of times black and brown people have just not been able to transfer that asset between generations. And by the asset, I actually mean the family home or the home that they worked so hard and invested so much money in. And, there was a study a few years ago, or actually it was more recent than that, sorry. There's a study that came out, I think, earlier this year, where they actually talked about the historic trends in terms of the gaps between the white community and communities of color and being able to make that intergenerational transfer of wealth. And what that means is that, as Black and Brown people, we're going more into debt in terms of being able to afford, to buy homes ourselves in our own generations, or if we want to pay for our education, like our college education, or that of our, children or other family members, we're having to go more into debt for that as well because we don't a lot of times have a home to borrow against. So this is kind of what the issue is in a nutshell. And I think there's a very strong correlation between being able to buy and acquire a home, build up equity, and to be able to preserve that to pass it on to the next generation, and being able to build wealth in this country.
Okay. And I think there's a misinformation out there that a lot of people say, "Oh, I can't afford a house. I can't afford a house. I have $20,000 is not enough,"
Right.
and they really don't take the time to educate themselves, look online, see what's available to them. I mean, there's so many resources that they can, take from to get the home. Now, of
Right.
course, maintaining the home is another thing. It's great. I got you the home. I was able to get you all kinds of um, I got you the
Right.
financial resources, so to
Right.
speak. You got the home, you're in, you're loving it, you're making beautiful memories. Now you're getting older, you have children. And what is it that they're not doing that they're losing these homes after they
Right.
pass away or someone gets sick and they can't afford to pay for medical expenses, so to speak?
Right. Well, it's a multifaceted question. Off the top of my head, what I would really say is that they're just not planning properly, and that involves estate planning, at least in some part. At the very minimum, everybody should have a will, because at least that way, there's some kind of direction as to what to do next. If you think about the time when you passed away, or someone in your family has passed away, rather, it's a very difficult time. So having even a simple will in place where you, you your relatives can see what it is that you wanted for them to have and how you wanted things to go, I think that offers a lot of relief. That's the bare minimum. And in the very same vein, I would say also a trust. I'm not to get too much into that, but a trust is a way that you can actually do planning, not only for your death, but also if you become incapacitated. One of the things I would say that what I'm seeing on the probate side is a real issue of what we call liquidity. So a lot of times people will call, they have an asset, usually the family home that they want to get, but they don't have the money to either pay an attorney or pay the filing fees or pay the professionals that they need to pay to actually acquire a gift. And that's a real gap in understanding, I find, with most people in terms of that whole process.
Gotcha. Absolutely. Now, we hear the word probate, but I don't think people really understand what probate means. What does that mean? They know that it has to go to court somewhere, somehow, but they're not
Right.
exactly sure, like, why and what's the process and what it entails.
Right, right. So it is a court process. Like one of my friends like to say, like they like to say, it's for lawyers by lawyers, unfortunately. But it's a process of going to court. You have to file a petition, even if your family, even if you have a will. And that's the thing a lot of people are not aware of. That will still has to go through court. It's still overseen by a judge. In fact, it's not really considered to be effective until it goes through that process. And typically the process takes from 7 months to 2 years. But I can tell you now that because of COVID and other issues, there's significant backup in the courts. I think, and I'm not going to go too much into that. Just my point being, at least a will is something, but if you have a trust, you can a lot of times kind of bypass that process, and the assets that you wanted to get to your family will get to them much quicker. Which is a lot of times a relief in terms of a lot of different aspects of what's going on with probate.
Great.
Right.
We talk about trust, and I think a lot of people don't understand trust either. So, like you said,
Right.
your son has autism. I have a nephew that has autism, and I think that's where it was that we clicked. Um,
Right. Right. Right.
we we were concerned that parents own homes, and they may have maybe that only child,
Right.
and God forbid something happens.
Right.
What happens to that child that really doesn't have? Maybe you didn't even appoint a guardian, right? That could be also
Right.
an issue. And then you don't have a will, you don't have a trust.
Right.
So could you kind of explain what a trust does?
So, I mean, specifically, just the bottom line, usually when people are talking about trust, they're talking about a living trust. And it's where, you create this document. It's like a contract. And not to get too technical, you retitle things in the name of the trust. So you still own them during your lifetime and everything. It's just the way that they're titled is slightly different. Specifically where it concerns individuals who have special needs, like my son, like your nephew, basically, there are a web of issues there, if you will. So basically, if you have an individual who has special needs who's getting SSI, maybe they're in a residence that's being paid for by the government. They can potentially lose their benefits if they receive an inheritance. And in fact, this happened to a friend of mine years ago, where her aunt left her son like $30,000 or something, and then he was thrown off of benefits, and she had to scurry to kind of get everything together. So the point just being is that you can plan ahead of time to make sure that you number one, have a guardian for your special needs loved one, and to make sure that if you have assets that you could possibly leave to them, they can still preserve their access to benefits they need a lot of times, for their continuing well-being.
Thank you so much for that. I mean, that's
Right.
so important, right? And people don't realize that people don't realize that generational wealth,
Right.
most of it comes from home ownership,
Yes. Yes. A lot
especially
of times.
through minorities, right?
Right.
And inheritance is a big part of that. So, it's always, this is why I wanted to have this conversation, because we don't think past just getting the house. We get the house and then we're worried about everything else. Oh, I
Yes.
have to get the boiler and I have to change and I got to buy curtains, and that's all fabulous.
Right. Right.
But let's get to the big stuff, which is actually the home, right? You work so hard, you put all your money and your investment, your heart, your soul into
Right.
your
Right.
home. Let's not lose it just to anyone, especially the
Right.
government, right?
Yes.
Well, this is the point of doing that. So, again, like I said, if someone needed to contact you, what's your contact information?
So my contact information. So I have a website. It's NYC Estate Plans with an S.com. And you can also call me directly. My number is 212-518-1673.
Fabulous. And we will be talking again, because we're just touching the surface, really, of how deep this can go. So we'll be talking. Well, people, look out. We're going to be out here educating you. If you have any questions, any concerns, always put it in the comments. Call Kim, call myself. We'll be more than happy to help you. So Kim, before I let you go, though, I have some questions for you.
Okay, great.
They're get to know me questions. So here we go. What's your favorite color?
Probably green, forest green.
Great. Okay. What do you do for fun or on your downtime?
Oh, my downtime. I enjoy writing. I also like karaoke.
Oh, karaoke. Oh, look at that. I would have never figured that one. We got to get together on that.
Yes.
And the last one is, what do you look forward to in the next year?
And the next year, I look forward to just being able to actually, it's going to sound cheesy, actually being of service to the community, educating people on what they need to do in terms of being able to plan and to help them get and reach their goals, for building wealth. So it's really what I'm working towards.
It's not cheesy. I think it's important that we always give back, right? Because in giving is when we receive. I really believe that. And it really does, I think, feed the soul to give, and from the heart, not
Yes.
just to give. So it's not cheesy. I'm with you on that one. I'm ready to work next year. We're going to do big things.
Right.
I believe, we're going to get over this big hump that we're all in and everyone's terrified. And we're going to see things blossom, because that's
Absolutely.
spring will be around the corner. It's like we're planting these seeds. Let's watch the flowers grow.
Yes.
Hi, thank you for joining us. Again, I'm Julie. I was here with Miss Kim McAdoo, and fabulous conversation. She handles estates and wills. We talked about generational wealth, how to maintain your home and not lose it after things happen, which eventually always things come up. Also, if you want to reach out to me, my name is Julie Leon. I am with the home team, and you can reach me at 718-208-9746. Or you can follow me on Instagram at Slay Mortgages 365. Till the next one.